we go. So we are now recording. If you prefer to keep your camera off, that is completely okay. I request that keep your mics muted unless you have a question and want to chime in. Feel free to submit questions at any time using the chat feature on your screen. It's at the bottom there. And we'll try to get to include your commentary and your, again, you can ask live too. And we'll have time for Q&A, but I think it's kind of cool that we ask questions and just have the conversation, right? And it's not like a presentation where you have to sit quietly, which you're more than welcome to do, but wait until the end for questions. I think, Christine, welcome questions at any time. So if you have one, just pop it into the chat. We'll stop. We'll try to get it answered and get some discussion around that if others are interested as well. So I think that's it on questions. And again, we just ask this space remain respectful and supportive. Everyone's experience with loss is different. Everyone's in a different place in their journey, and probably everybody's in a different place in terms of, what dating looks like, whether that's in your future or you're already dating now. So thank you for, again, being here tonight, and grateful, that you chose the time to spend with us. Welcome to, excited to have and welcome back Christine Baumgartner, the perfect catch dating and relationship expert. Christine Baumgartner is a dating and relationship expert who's been studying relationships for over 30 years and coaching singles for 15 years. She works with singles to help them tackle what's keeping love away and finally attract a committed, loving relationship that they desire and they deserve. Getting it right, right? Getting it right. Yep. Christine is the author of the book, The Perfect Catch, Learn How to Be One and How to Attract One, and co-hosts a weekly podcast as well. So there's a lot more to that bio that, Christine, if you want to add to that, you certainly can, but welcome. And I'll pass the mic.
Thank you. And I do welcome having a dialogue and conversation personally. And what I tell my male clients, of which I have lots, is it's a great way for you to practice talking to someone that's not your deceased spouse, because you talked to her for a very long time and it can be a little awkward talking to new people. So just a little bit of what will feel like a commercial, but if you go to my website, there's lots of free things. So my book is there. It's free. It's at the top. There's an ebook. It has lots of really interesting information that's helpful about dating. So my website is www.theperfectcatch.com. Click on the ebook at the top. I'll be happy to send it to you. You can also sign up for a free call with me. That's in the middle. What's holding you back from love questionnaire. Have access to my calendar to make a complimentary conversation at your convenience. At the bottom is all my social media icons, and the one on the far right is my YouTube channel, which has 270 podcasts that I've done with my co-host. That's a guy. Also a bunch that I've done on my own. You can also listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You can also join my mailing list. You'll get the podcast immediately in your email box every week, and you can find out what also things that I'm doing and offering for the rest of the year. And that's the end of my commercial. I'm also widowed. So I'm in your same shoes, and I'm also dating. So I'm also in those shoes. So my goal is to help widowed people especially feel more comfortable and confident out in the dating world, because we know how to be spouses. We were spouses. I wasn't. My marriage was pretty short before my husband died suddenly, but the majority of people I coach were married for a really long time. And so easing back into the dating world and then being a boyfriend, girlfriend kind of person can feel awkward. And how do you do that? So talking about first date, second dates, third dates, how do you ask somebody out? What kind of conversations do you have? When do you talk about being exclusive? When do you talk about having sex? So I'm excited to hear the kind of things that you would like to talk about. I can talk about all those things, different things, more things. I have a wonderful list that I prepared that have lots of questions that you can bring up and ask people. So I will tell you one of the biggest complaints that I hear from men and women when they're first meeting. Maybe you've had a bunch of first meetings and they haven't gone smoothly or they have gone smoothly. But women often say all he did was talk about himself and he didn't ask anything about me. And often the same man at that date will say, all she did was ask me questions and I didn't learn anything about her. So has anybody experienced any of that? Has that never happened to anybody? Because I won't address how to fix that if that has never happened to any of you. That would be a waste of all of your time if that's not something that you're interested in learning how to fix that. No? Nobody's had that problem?
Not seeing hands, not seeing notes, Christine, on that
Sorry,
one.
say it again.
Not seeing any raised
I see
hands or
that.
notes come through. So
I'll
I
drop
just
that then. I
add
sure
that
hear it a
one.
lot. Okay, you've all made it through the first meeting smoothly, and you get second meetings if you want them, because you don't always want to meet that person a second time if you weren't attracted to them or weren't interested in them. But if you like them, you have succeeded in getting a second meeting. Because if you didn't get a second meeting and you wanted to, that might be the reason you didn't. So just letting you know. So if you are going along and you're having second and third dates? Are you all having second and third dates? You're having second and third dates? Cool. So what would be a question that you might have, David, as you're continuing to date somebody? How could I help you? That might be helpful for the other windows here.
I've been dating someone for about 8 years now,
8.
and we get along quite well.
Mhm.
Um, I'm just, I guess I'm just used to being married. I was married for 25 years to my second wife uh, before she passed, and now being the boyfriend it's just different for me.
Mhm.
It's actually kind of nice because, we spend the weekends together and then we go to our own homes for the week. She's still working, I'm retired. Um, I just often wonder where do I go from here? But things seem to be working out. I also am, here to listen so that when I meet other people that I can share information as well. So
Great.
other widowers. So
Perfect. Because it's people want to know if you're finding that you're able to go through, sustain a relationship with somebody new. They want to go, how did you do that? And how are you getting there? So it's nice that you can have that kind of success to talk about.
well, the thing that I've realized, and I don't, I I think people don't want to hear it, but the thing that I've realized is not only can I find love again, but there's actually a possibility that it could be even better than and I was happily married, but maybe better in a different way. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. You've brought up a really good point that some people, maybe not you, go through a phase of do I feel guilty that I want something different or that I like something different? Because does that feel disloyal or dismissive to the love that I had to the person before? And one of the things that I will bring up that's a reality is there's a lot of difference inside of you now. You're a very different person than when you met and married your spouse 20 plus years, almost 30 years ago now. And you've not only chronologically gone through all those things with her, but you've now gone through the death of somebody you loved and adored. How much we all know that people who have not lost a loved one changes us. There's no way it doesn't change us. So it would make logical sense if we stay from the neck up with our logic and leave our emotion aside just for a moment, it makes logical sense. Yeah, I'm kind of different, not completely different. I still have a lot of who I am. Who I was when I was 15 is still, there's part of that that still lives inside of us, even though sometimes our bodies protest that that's not the same. But we have a lot of the excitement, that we still like some of the same hobbies or the curiosity, but there's parts of us that's now matured and grown from the things that we've learned and loved and lost. So it would make sense that we would be interested and desire and be fulfilled by something new and different. Not better or worse, just better for us now. And it's an adjustment for widowed people to go through to say, does that mean anything negative about the spouse that is now passed? So one of the things, if I repeat myself, because I don't know who was here when I was here last month, that I suggest a visual to widowed people is to visualize a place in your heart that you put your spouse, and you use the Japanese process where they actually melt gold, real gold, and you seal that part shut so that they'll always be there, precious, recognized that they're sealed away in this little part of your heart, so that it frees up the rest of your heart to be available in this new way, to this new person, to these new interests, to this new additional way to love. So you're guilt free, that you're still keeping all this precious memories that you will never lose, and you're free to develop a different kind of love, a different kind of passion, a different kind of way of looking at your future, a different kind of set of memories, so that it's building on that and not taking anything away. And a lot of people have been comforted by that visual. And a few people have even sent for like one of their little bowls from Japan with the little gold piece of repair, just as a visual to put up on the shelf sometime next to the ashes. But just so that you have a chance to say, I'm really okay about doing this. And you don't have to explain it to anybody else because it's none of their business. I tell people, I did not send a ballot out to you to vote on this part of my life. I'm the only person that gets a vote. I might ask for your opinion, but you don't get to vote. So I'm glad that you brought it up, because I always want to address that, because it's a whole mind shift. It's something we all need to go through in different ways, in different times, and whether we get there or not, it's certainly a personal, very personal decision. But I have so many clients that have found love again, whether or not they've married or not, but they have absolutely found love. And some are very similar, some are very different, and everywhere in between. And they've done this process in order to have no guilt, because the guilt is just such a waste of time and energy. There's nothing, guilt is only if you do something illegal or immoral, and this is none of that. Finding love again, I think, is an honor. If you had a horrible marriage, it might say, why would I want to do that again? But if you had a good marriage, you'd go, I really want to do that again. I want to fall in love again. I want to be a provider and a protector for somebody else. I want somebody who has my back and wants to spend the rest of their life with me. I want to do that again. And it frees you up to have that clean way of giving your whole heart to somebody and having them give their whole heart to you. And it's an interesting experience to have the other person, especially if they're not widowed, get past, could you really still love me? Because you are going to still love this person that's not alive anymore. And for them to see, yeah, they're just sealed in this part of my heart and the rest of my heart is all for you. But I watch all that adjustment happen on both sides for the widowed person, and especially non-widowed people who don't get that. But even the two widowed people have to go through this process, however they do it. So it's certainly one of the things to think about as you're progressing in your dating and deciding if you really are going to make a permanent arrangement with somebody.
Christine, I wanted to comment on that. David said something to the effect of, I'm not sure what's next.
I was going to address that next.
Okay, yeah, because does there have to be a next? Does there have to be a destination, or is it okay to just be friends for a while and date for a while? What
Well,
is the expectation?
my next comment about that is what I suggest to people that are in now a committed monogamous. You didn't say for sure, but I'm going to assume since it's been that long. Once you've had that conversation and we're going to just concentrate on each other and we're not going to see anybody else, my suggestion always is to set up something regular. I like once a week. Some people do it every other week. I call it a state of the relationship meeting. And it's not the we gotta talk meeting, which no man ever likes hearing those words ever. It's you start out with what's going really great. Set up it on your calendar. When you know you're going to be together, do it in person, and you have a nice dinner, very little alcohol, and you set aside a time to go, what's been going really well for us? We had this fun time. We did this fun thing. We had this great conversation. Wow, look at all the things we're doing really well together. Is there something that you would like different? You move into is there something you'd like different? Now, just because somebody wants something different doesn't mean you have to change. And if you want something different, doesn't mean she has to change. But you need to put it on the table. It needs to be put on the table so that both of you go, oh, I didn't know that. Because what generally happens, especially for men, is you are much better at saying stuff. If there's something on your mind, if you need something, if you want something different, you just do it. You just say it. And you expect us to do that. And most of us female types are not very good at that. We think you should just be able to read our minds or see the expression on your face. And you see that expression, but you have no idea what it means, except maybe I'm in trouble or I don't know what to do about it. So we like being asked. We really like being asked. And then you have to bank on that they were the kind of person that's going to tell the truth. It's part of learning that during dating, are we trustworthy? We both need to learn to trust each other, and we need to see when we say something, is it the truth? Do our actions match our words? Now I'm going to stop and interrupt myself for a second because there's another thing that is really different and normal about men and women. And maybe you haven't experienced this, but this just happens. You men think something through generally, and then when you say it, it's the truth. It's well thought out. It's the truth. You wouldn't say it if it wasn't a fact, generally. Do you find that that's what you do? Yeah? No? Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Generally, the manufacturer installation person, don't kill the messenger, whoever put us together in our bodies, the gift that we women have that isn't always great in this area is we think while we're talking. Oh, how did that sound? How did somebody react as we were saying, oh, no, I really didn't mean that. I meant it this way. Oh, I didn't like the sound of that. I'm going to change that. And we mess around with it while we're talking. You might have experienced that with your lovely spouse while they were alive. Maybe, maybe not. But I know I learned I did that and didn't even realize I was doing that. So it's not that we're lying. That is not lying. We can lie, but that's not lying. That's us getting to the point and getting to the truth. We just haven't gotten there yet. So I just wanted to tell you that little caveat to the side. So when you say, tell me what's going on, is there anything? So you say to your lovely person, I'm really enjoying the pattern that we're doing. I like that we see each other on the weekend. I like the things that we're doing. This is really working for me. What do you think? And then you be quiet while she says, well, yeah, I like it, but I'd like it if you called more during the week, or gosh, I wish we did more dancing, or no, I like everything we do. Because she might say some or none or other things. You never know. We like being asked, even if we have nothing to change, we really like being asked. There's a very funny joke about this older couple, like in late 90s, go to the therapist, and she says, I don't think he's ever loved me. And the therapist looks at the guy and says, is that really the truth? He goes, no, I told her I loved her on the day we got married, and doesn't she know I'd tell her if I changed my mind? And it's really the truth. You guys would tell her, but we need to hear it a lot, some of us. So we like being asked, are you happy with things as they are? Because what happens if you don't ask and we're not happy, and we aren't always going to tell you, sadly, then we start getting resentful, and then we think you should just know. And we're going to drop these subtle hints that you might not hear because they're really subtle. It's not fair. I'm telling you, I get that it's not fair. I wish women would stop doing this. I apologize all the time. But just buck up and ask. So if she says, no, I'd really like this instead, you could say, could, could I do that? Think. Well, I can't do that, but I could do this. Would you be okay with that? Or, yeah, I could do that. I didn't know you wanted that. I could do that. Ask. Please ask. So then, whatever the next week or 2 weeks from now, we're going to have a state of the relationship meeting. Hopefully, when you go to the what are the good things first, you're going to go, what, did you see? We did that thing. And hopefully she'll say, I'm so happy. Thanks so much. And what happens, I've watched with the couples I've coached down the road, you could have a whole conversation about everything's just peachy fine because you get better at, oh, by the way, I need this thing during the week. Could you do that? Sure, fine. Just suggesting. People even pay me and sometimes don't take my advice, and you're getting this for free. But I'm telling you, because you want to hear from the other side, I'm telling you, this is one of the things generally that can help keep you out of hot water. Just ask. Does that answer sort of your question about you don't know where you're going? I guess I would also ask David, where would you like to go? Do you have a plan?
Um, I don't have a plan at this point because, so it's been just over a year since my wife passed, and I've been focusing on making the house my home instead of our home. And that's been very therapeutic for me. And now I'm getting to like my home. She's been single for 30 years. She likes her home. And that's something I'm totally not used to. But we'll see where it goes. You mentioned that provider thing. Um, I mean, she's very frugal because she doesn't make a lot of money, right? So I've got this provider thing going in my head, I mean, I've been used to being the provider and the protector for the last 30 years, and I've got to hold myself back from jumping in there to do that, we're so, but it's complicated.
Yes. And the less we talk about it, the potential for complications get more. So, is there something for all of you Y chromosome people you'd really like to do? fix something, buy something, do something that would help you with your testosterone. You like building something, you like fixing something, you like providing something that you could say, gosh, I'd really like to do this for you. What do you think? And see what they say. They're a nice grown-up person. They could say yes or no. But at least say, to ask. Ask. I know I explained to women that after procreate, protect, and provide, the next highest priority to men, I have a really tall ceiling in my house. If I could touch my ceiling, is you want us to be happy people, but you want to figure out how to make us happier. You really like us to smile. You like taking credit for us smiling around you. You really like making us happy. And right below it, this much is you don't want to piss us off, because it's really hard on you when you think you're responsible for pissing us off. So asking is kind of scary and dangerous. I get that. But it's the only way you can be closer, is to say, I'd like to do this thing for you. What do you think? Let her tell you. So one of the things that's a term nowadays that you are doing right now, David, that a lot of couples in our age group, it's called living apart together, that you keep your separate houses and you go back and forth. And I have couples that are doing it, have no plans to not do it, but they spend lots of time going back and forth, more than just weekends. They sometimes spend time during the week going back and forth. And if either of you said, I'd like to try, could I come spend time at your home one night a week just to see what it felt like? And the other person thought that would be okay or not. It sounds like that might be something that the two of you could talk about, maybe. I don't know. But it takes two yeses ultimately. That's really the thing. If you're far apart, how much negotiation is there? How close can you get? So one of the other things I say is you need to say in every relationship, there's really good, hope you have lots of really good, and then you have lots of very good, and then you have good, and then you have good enough. There was lots of good enough when you have long marriages. Good enough is great. You cannot have anything that falls below and stays below the good enough line. And the only way you know there's something that's gone below the good enough line is if you've asked. Because sadly, most women are trained from the time we're little not to upset the people that are bigger and stronger than us. Not that we assume you're going to hurt us, not that we assume you're bad people, but our lizard brain, because you were the protectors and providers when we were cave people, we could not risk having you leave. So there's a part of us that is very nervous about being really honest. So we have to learn to be self-confident enough to go, but this is what I'd really like. Would you do that for me, please? So it's helpful if you ask. I'd really like to do this for you. Or is there something you'd really like me to do for you? In your really open, lovely, masculine way. It's the best encouragement I can give you. And if she can't step up and do that, she might not be your person. Because she could turn into this terrible, resentful person. And resentment is the thing that makes every woman physically back up, and then you're not getting any sex. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's the horrible price to pay. You hear about couples that pass in the night, they act like roommates. That's why. She's harboring resentment and isn't talking about it. And the guy's not getting any physical affection. Sorry. It's a terrible price to pay. I hope I was helpful.
Yes, you were helpful.
Good,
I want to let some other people ask questions. So
good. But it's for anybody is anybody else dating anybody more than once or twice? Is anybody else? You can even down if you go down into the reactions, you can hit a hand that goes up, so you don't have to turn on your camera if you don't want to. Because as you're proceeding through dating, finding out about the other person is really helpful. Oh, I'll tell you another thing that we women like. If we ask you a question, we really like it if you ask us the same question back because we're really prepared with the answer every time. Yeah, it's true. It's really true. Yeah, it is the safest question to ask us if we've asked you. I'm telling you, 99.9% of the time, you are absolutely safe to ask us a question we've asked you, and we're ready with the answer. I'm telling you. Because I understand that some people are really out there dating, and I'm so curious what's you're having that's successful, what you're having that isn't successful, that's not much fun, that you'd like it to be more fun.
I would encourage you to, I mean, Christine can talk about any topic, any subject, and is happy to, but she wants to try to address things that might be on your mind. So if you've attended tonight because you have questions, love to hear them. If you just attended because you're just a big sponge and you want to hear it all, she can just keep going. But we want to make sure we're addressing any questions that you have. If you're in a relationship, this is a great time to ask those kinds of questions.
Since you're probably in a relationship with somebody who has the same two X chromosomes I do. Since you heard I have 270 hours just sitting there on my YouTube channel, plus I have way more hours than that. I can talk about lots of subjects.
And it didn't nudge anybody. So let's,
Okay. Oh,
here we go.
a
I'm here.
sponge. Okay.
All right.
About
Thank
women.
you. Yeah.
So,
What, maybe, we talked about this a little bit last time. And, I think, I don't know what kind of prep David did, before you finally step out and say, hey, you want to go out to dinner or you want to go to breakfast or something. Um, we talked a lot about just kind of getting ourselves ready and being in the right place before we put ourselves out there. And I think you said last time, and I think kind of all we've heard it, right? It's often too soon. It's too soon, not ready. And then they go too fast. I was actually talking with a widow today, and she was a client of ours. And she was telling us all that unfortunately, the guy she's been dating, she's going to cut it off. So of course we were all like, well, okay, well, so what didn't work out? She said, and this is just what we talked about last month. By the third date, he was asking me about what my marriage plans were. Third date, he was ready to talk about marriage. And she said, I just wanted to peel back the onion. And I didn't get that chance. I mean, I just felt like, okay, this isn't going any further because we're in completely different places. And that was the third date. So I don't know if you want to speak to that. It seems like a very common mistake. Guys just want to race to some destination, and to their detriment.
yeah, well, generally, men that had a happy marriage like being married and they want to be married or in a committed relationship again. And a better way to ask is, what is your ultimate plan? Not with me, because you don't know me yet, but are you looking to get into a committed relationship? Are you looking to live with somebody? Are you looking to ultimately get married? I think that's a very viable question to ask somebody, certainly at the second or third meeting, because I want to know, I want to know if somebody's just interested in casual, because it's okay if they are, but that's not what I'm interested in. So I think it's fine to ask it that way because you want them to understand that you're not asking for you. Because it sounds the way that you would think to put it, that you're asking about you, even though you're not. We're concerned. Well, he doesn't even know me. How could he ask that question when maybe you're not really saying it, but we hear it that way? One of the things that's kind of a challenge is what happens with our words between our mouth and the other person's ear. There's lots of misunderstanding that happens a lot between men and women. I find that I interpret for men and women all the time. I feel like I'm interpreting different languages. So the other thing on the first meeting, if you think about what are the things that are the most important to you in your life? Is it religion? Is it travel? Is it family? Is it education? What are the things that keep you, that you are looking for someone who could do that with you, talk about that with you, that you would want to come home and talk to them about, or you'd want to participate that with them with that? Find out, are they at least that first? Because if they're not that, then who cares if they want to get married or not? If you'll hear if you listen to any of our podcasts that my co-host wouldn't even date somebody that isn't on their second passport. He doesn't want somebody that's only lived in one area. It's really who Barry is. He's pretty funny. He's lived in a bunch of different countries. So I couldn't be with somebody that isn't done a bunch of personal work, because this is what I do. It's what I've done for over 35 years. I can't imagine having somebody that doesn't know their Myers-Briggs letters and their disc numbers and their love language. I mean, it's where I live all day long, every day. That would be so bizarre to have somebody that wasn't interested in that. So think about, do you want somebody who has an higher education? Do you want somebody who wants to spend every holiday with their family or yours? Think about, you have a dog. Do you want somebody that at least likes dogs or has dogs, or you can't be around cats because you're allergic? What are the things that are really important to you? Are you a music person? Are you not a music person? Are you the kind of person, I tell people I need emotional support noise all the time. When I'm not on a call, there is something, TV, radio, music. I have always something in my house. I have friends that have to have silence all the time. So what is it that keeps you upright and ticking? Find that out. I'm so curious to get to know you. Tell me about this part about you. Gosh, I went on this really great trip, and I'm the kind of person, I have to have plans for everything, but I know people that'll just show up at the airport and they'll just like buy a ticket. Well, that's so not me. But are you that? So do that first. So my goal, and I started doing this in 2001 when I started on online dating. It's how I met and married my late husband. When you're going to start getting to know somebody over time, and as you're dating them, keep thinking about, what do I keep learning about me? And what am I learning about this new person? And do I want to keep seeing them? And keep doing that. It's why my brother and sister-in-law were married 50 years last month, because they still think they're the most fascinating person they've ever met, and they've never been bored with each other. So if you start it as this is your baseline when you first start meeting a person, and then you keep going for weeks and months, and you keep that in mind, I have more things to learn about them. And what do I keep learning about me every time I'm with them? You have your things, your habits that you get into, but gosh, I learned this new thing today I want to share with you. What did you learn today? There's these fun cards you can download and ask each other questions. There's so many things to keep you stimulated while you're forming a routine, but to keep you stimulated. I don't want to be bored and with a boring, I've never been bored in my life, but I don't want to be with somebody that I get bored with. So be an interesting person and be interested in other people by figuring out what are the things I'm interested in, what are the things I want to keep learning about other people. So come up with your baseline and do that on the first couple meetings. And keep doing that as you're getting to know somebody. Don't you want somebody to be interested in getting to know you? I don't want to just know what you think about the weather. I want to know what you think about what somebody, gosh, I just read this really interesting article about, did you know about the two different Chinese people from the skaters, the one that was born here and the one that decided that she would skate for China? I mean, I thought that was just so fascinating. And I just, and the one that got proposed, of course, I was interested in that with relationships. And I would have a whole conversation with somebody about that. And what I find is if you're passionate about something, even if it's not something the other person is interested in, they go, gosh, they really care a lot about that. I like that they care about something, even if it's not something I care about. I want somebody who's passionate about what they do in their life. So talk about the thing that you're passionate about. And if they don't think that you're cool, then they're not your person.
Good stuff.
I hope that
Good.
that's helpful.
That's good stuff. Daniel asked, did you see that one? Is there
I couldn't
anything
read it.
wrong? Is there anything wrong with just seeking companionship for travel, dinner, attending events? Is that fair to the other if you're not ready to commit to anything further beyond that?
I will tell you, Daniel, it is amazing how many women really want that. Just that. They're kind of damaged though. I'm just going to warn you. There's this pocket of women over 50 that say, and they mean it, they just want a companion. They want to have dinner, they want to go to the movies because we like having a guy with us. It makes us feel safer. We like that you offer to pay, even though we're going to say we want to pay. And we often will insist on paying because we think we don't want to be beholden, because we want you not to think you're going to get sex just because you paid for dinner. But if you have a conversation about you pay this time, I'll pay that time, and they'll even sometimes go away for the weekend with you, and sometimes they actually will have sex with you. But you need to keep having the conversation every time. I'm still fine with this. Are you still fine with that? Because the challenge often for widowed men, I've learned, and women in general, is if the sex is good, you kind of can catch feelings. But then you just have to say, oh gosh, I'm starting to care. What do you think? And they might go, I'm not. And then you have to have that conversation. But there's enough women out there that say that out loud and mean it when they say it. It doesn't always stick, but there's a huge pocket of women because there'll always be more women than men in our age group because sadly you die sooner, just not you guys. So there'll still be more women than men, but there's this huge pocket of women that have taken themselves out of the running that don't want a relationship, where the majority of men I coach would like a relationship. So just be upfront about it, Daniel. This is what I'm looking for. And the women that are looking for that too will say, great, let's keep going Dutch. And do you like the same kind of movies? Do you like the same kind of travel? Do you like playing board games? Whatever, just keep every time. And I got to tell you, can't stress enough every time. I'm okay with this still. Are you okay with this still? Even though you say, oh, we'll know, no. I'll let you know, no. Ask every time. Are you still okay? Are you still okay? I can't stress it enough, hun. But do it. I think it's perfect. And I would not say that there's anything bad about you or wrong about you wanting it. And it's a great way to ease in. The odds are greater than 50% that one or both of you will catch feelings. And it's hard when it's only one because the other one generally just doesn't. And it's sad because the one person's going to care and the other person just isn't. And don't wait. If you catch feelings and she doesn't, don't wait. It generally doesn't turn out well because if they don't catch feelings, they're not gonna. They don't usually end up, it just doesn't. It's not like the movies. I haven't seen it turn out well less than 10% if it's only one person that falls in love and the other person doesn't. They don't come around. They're still stuck. And the women that don't wanna, it's because they had crappy marriages, they haven't gotten over it, they're kind of mad at men, which is why they're kind of hard to do this with. They're kind of grouchy women. They just are. I'm sorry. They won't coach with me. I want to help them stop being so mad at men. That's usually why they want to do this, because they're mad at their ex-husbands. Just letting you know. I wish they could get more healthy and do this, but I'm sorry. Just warning you.
So Daniel's been dating for more than 2 years. Now, I don't know if that's with the same person, but if you're well down the road, years, we're talking years, and you don't have, I love catch the feeling. If that hasn't happened,
Neither
it might
one.
later,
Wow.
or do you think it probably never will if it hasn't happened in a couple of years? I don't, what, how would you respond to that? I mean, is it, if you're just fine the way things are, maybe what
Shit.
you're saying is, well, the other person is having feelings, but I'm not there yet. And you're saying probably not gonna work out.
It it's not, I can't say nothing cannot happen. I mean, I believe anything can happen. Strange. I mean, I know some things that I was like, yeah, like lightning could still strike.
Sure.
It's highly irregular, like lightning, for both people to be okay for a long period of time with a casual relationship. It's not unheard of. It's perfectly, and as long as both people say out loud, that's the thing. When stuff goes on, when nobody asks and nobody says, I worry. When you have said, I'm okay, are you okay? And they say they're okay, even if it's not the truth, you've at least asked. I think it's the only honorable thing. My free advice. Don't have to take any of my free advice. It's honorable to ask. I know you don't want to rock the boat and you don't have to do it at all if you don't want to. And who knows what had happened? I don't know. And if it feels fine, then just keep it up. I mean, really, if it's still working, who wants to rock the boat? I don't.
Yeah. You
But
said the
2 years, how about that?
same person for 2 years.
Yeah, how
So
about that?
yeah, so
Yeah,
that's
if it's
great.
working, okay. And everybody seems okay enough. Okay. Well, good for both of you. And if both of you says, I want to find somebody serious, that'd be a good thing to talk about. Or if I want to be serious with you, that'd be good to talk about. But if everything seems to be smooth, okie dokie, good for you. We, if we can, whatever we need and want, if we can find it and it's not hurting the other person, I am a big fan. Big fan. As long as it's not hurting another person, you can do whatever you want as a consenting adult with another consenting adult. I have no energy about any, but I mean, I've coached one polyamorous couple. It was very fascinating. I said, I can't, they wanted me to coach everybody. I said, I'm not sure I could keep track of everybody because there was a lot of everybody's. I could just do the two of them because they had all these other peripheral people. It was a lot. And I don't have any energy about I don't think I could do it. I just can't. But it worked for them, and they were polyamorous before they got together, and then they married and kept it up. And I was like, well, how about that? Okay.
Christine, does if you have that kind of a relationship and sex gets introduced, does that just blow it up in terms of keeping feelings at bay, or can you have a casual relationship and have sex part of that?
I certainly know people who do because the manufacturer installation person put it inside of us to procreate, to raise children. It encouraged us to stay together, to raise children. But the thing that he put inside of men was to sow as many seeds as possible and as many women as possible because women and babies died a lot in childbirth. The other thing he did was to make women get on their cycles all at the same time. I mean, if you lived with a wife and daughters, you know that they all got on their cycles all at the same time. It was kind of wild in your house. You probably all wanted to just leave home. And that men could, that was so that you could sow a bunch of seeds all at the same time. So, but the protect and the provide thing, so the procreate was the number one thing, and then the protect and provide. When you made a family, you stayed to go outside and kill this animal that could kill you and your family to bring home food is so ingrained in you that you now, as a more evolved Homo sapien, say, I'm going to be monogamous with you. So it is a drive that you now make a commitment to each other. So it's a challenge for people not to catch feelings. The other thing that happens is the oxytocin that happens inside of women when we have an orgasm is the same one that happens when we have a baby, that helps us get attached to this people thing that, just gave us all this pain. It's the same thing that has us get attached to you if you give us an orgasm. So it's a challenge, and men generally didn't get attached having sex before. But you've all taught me as I started coaching widowed men that you guys do get attached. I was kind of fascinated that you all started explaining to me that when you started going out and meeting people that you sort of kind of like them, but then you'd have sex with them and you're like, well, now I really like them a lot. And I was like, well, that's an interesting thing to learn. So that's one of the things I just caution to watch for. Is this somebody that they deserve you being attached to them? Or is it just that the sex was great? Do you know enough about them that they're worthy of your love and your protection and your providing? Are they worthy of your money and your time and your energy? Because you guys are much clearer about your return on investment of your money and your time and your energy than we are. We women just scattered all around all the time, and you're just like, why? Why did you go do those three other things when you kept saying you were so tired and you could just lay down and take a nap and get back up and go do stuff? We don't do that. Is that helpful? Is
So
that a helpful answer?
thanks. We've got about 3 minutes, and one question, kind of a long one, came in from Mike. He's at work, but so he can't talk. But here's his question. I am in a square dance club where I am doing a lot of dancing with a widow of 2 years. I am a 7-month widower of a 41-year marriage, but wife had 6 years of cancer. The therapist is happy with where I am at. We talk between dances, but have not really dated other than mini golf once. She meets a lot of she meets a lot of checks for me, I guess, a lot of check marks. But the one area I'm having difficulty with is where she is at with religion, as that is important to me. So kind of going back to what's important, right? I want to ask, but I'm not sure how to bring it up naturally without it sounding like I am trying to convert her, um, understandably, or for her to feel like that is a barrier. Great question.
It's a great question. So for any of the subjects, like I just suggested about religion and travel and family, to say, for instance, would you like to have coffee so you could have a more quiet time to talk? Gosh, I was at my church, temple, whatever it is you go to, and there was this message, and I really liked it, and I was moved by it, and this is why, or there was this thing, and I wanted to share it with you, and I was curious what you thought about it, and then I'm curious what you get from yours. Tell me what moves you about your church, or what's the part that draws you to your church, so that you can hear in her words, because it's not always necessarily the religion, even though sometimes the religions are at odds, like Jewish and Christian, but it might be that you have some similar beliefs, you just don't know it. But if they're really different, it's something to talk about to see if it is a too much or not too much. But have a conversation over coffee, because if anything, you she'll learn more about where you stand with your religion, and you'll learn more about where she stands with her religion, with no big upheaval, because then you can still dance at square dance, but maybe it turns out you're not each other's people. But first sharing something about yourself is where I like telling people to start. This is what is important to me about my fill in the blank. I'd love to hear about yours. Tell me, and then just be quiet and let her just blah 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 blah. And listen to learn, not just to respond. Oh, what words did she use? What enthusiasm did she think? What was the point that she finally gets to? Because we use a lot of words, us ladies. I hope that was a helpful answer.
Well, it's a tough one because she may not be a churchgoer. That may not be anything in her life at all. I mean,
You'll find out.
but he's going to find out, and he needs to find out if it's important to him. That could be a non-starter.
It could be. I mean, I have clients that read the Bible every day and go to church 3 days a week, and you need to tell them that and find out are they an atheist?
Right.
Really important. If it's a huge thing to you and it's not a huge thing to them, oh, good. I'm glad it was helpful. Because if it's a total deal maker, deal breaker, you need to find out right away. Not whether or not you could square dance with them, but whether or not they could be your person. Yeah, but you could still square dance with her, even if she's an atheist. Who knows? You could still square dance. I mean, you don't want to not do that. And I'm glad that you're doing social things that you really like. Go do lots of those. Yeah. Was there another question?
More of a comment. I'm not sure from David about says it really is a big thing when she shares her body with me. Sex means a lot, especially if we had experience with it being withheld. So, yeah, probably more to that whole story. I don't know if you want to comment on what we know. And we are. I mean, we do have to wrap up. So I don't know if you want to make a final comment to that.
That Christine could spend a whole hour talking about sex? Yes, she would be so happy. I was raised by a mom that talked about sex at dinner.
To be
So
continued.
the thing that I will keep stressing is how you feel connected to us as men is such a physical experience. It just is. The manufacturer installation person put this in you to keep the population going. So we women need to know that about you, but we also need to say, hun, the way that I'm going to want to be physically connected to you is to have you not piss me off too often, or if you piss me off, I need to tell you how to unpiss me off. So instead of huffing and puffing, because my first marriage, I got divorced and then remarried and then he died. I had one of those storm clouds over me a lot because I thought he could read my mind and I shouldn't have to tell him what would make me happy and certainly what had pissed me off. It was terrible. So we're not good at that. We're not taught to do that. I teach women to do that now, but so asking is really the best way to keep out of hot water and into bed with us. It's really the best way. So I just keep ensuring men to be brave and ask and talk about what you like about us and get us to talk about what we like about you. Because you guys, the thing that amazes me, the other thing that he did that had such a sense of humor, I saw a cartoon that said, these are things that you really like. You like our breasts a lot, that they're stress relievers, but they're just attached to the thing that causes you a lot of stress. I laughed when I saw that because it's so true. It's so true. And even with all the things that are hard about us, you still like us. You like how we smell. You like touching us. You like making us happy and pleasing us. And I think God had a really funny sense of humor when he pulled us out of your rib, if that's how we arrived. So please thank you for having me here and for being so transparent and honest and asking me these questions, because you want to know, you just want to know how to do this. And I'm telling you, nobody knows. That's the one thing I want to leave you with. Nobody knows how to date. Nobody just knows. That's why it's job security for me. They just don't, you just don't know. So I'm here to teach. I'm happy to teach. You can have a private conversation with me if you have more questions. It's free. And I want you to do better than if you think that you have things you're like, I don't know. I'm happy to teach you because I want you all to find love again and be comfortable in it, as comfortable as you can with hanging out with people like me. I get to teach you what's going on the other side because we're all kind of a mystery. I think it's cute that you all think we're just confusing and cute. You don't get pissed at us very often. You just think we're kind of confusing. So I appreciate that very much.
Christine, thank you. And I will make sure that when I send out the follow-up that they have your contact information so they can reach out to you. As we bring tonight's conversation to a close, I want to thank again Christine for sharing her time and insight and personal experience. It's always fun. I really appreciate that, and I hope you all did too. Thank you for everyone who joined us live. You know, I think your presence and questions and your courage, right, to be open and to share is what makes this a special event. So thanks for being here. Thanks for connecting with us, engaging with us. And if you came as a sponge, that's perfectly okay too. Okay. Just a reminder, that Widower Support Network Men Live events, they take place every month. Events are published on the website and in the monthly newsletter. So stay tuned. And usually the day before or the day of, I always send out a reminder. And that usually works pretty well too. So finally, I want to share that you're going to receive a brief survey by email. Just a few quick questions. It won't take you more than a minute. And your feedback helps me continue to shape our conversations and to truly meet you where you are, and try to make this time with us meaningful for you. Okay, so take good care of yourselves, and remember, you don't have to navigate this journey alone. We look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you, and good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christine.